folks, welcome back to the channel. Today's little episode is going to be turning a dirty great big lump of cherry. I'll show you the lump in a minute. It's around about 15 inches in diameter, so it's quite big and it's hellishly out of balance, and I've just done a quick try and got about 220 RPM out of it, so it's going to be a slow old slog to start with. Not quite sure what it's going to be. It's either going to be a bowl or a platter, or knowing my luck it'll end up as pen blanks or something, but we'll give it a go, see what we can see what the wood lets us do to it, I suppose. I've had to chop a few bits and pieces off with the old chainsaw just to help alleviate the stress on the lathe, although not a great amount of stress on the lathe, unfortunately. So basically we're going to see what's going to happen. I'm going to show you the bit of wood and then we'll see what we can do with it. Right, there we have it. I've got it mounted on a faceplate, a large faceplate. As you can see, it's extremely thick this side and extremely thin this side. So what I'm going to try and do is turn a section where I can just get a tenon on and get it mounted in the chuck if I possibly can, because this is horrendously out of balance. I'm going to take a bit off here first because this is the widest point, so we're chopping a lot of air for a while. Right, got a 1/2 inch bowl gouge to start with, because that's the biggest one I've got. Well, no doubt you can see how slow that's going to be, so what I'll do, I'll switch the camera off and get back to you when it's a bit more where I think it should be. Right, just a quick update. What I've done, I took enough material out so I could get a flat area for the chuck jaws, and I put it on a worm screw and tightened it up against the face of the jaws. With tailstock support I can hopefully do a little bit of shaping on the outside and just try and get a little bit of balance into it. As you can see, there's lots of fissures, cracks and a lot of punky sort of wood there. When it comes to doing a tenon, it'll be around about there, I should think, which is not a lot. I might have to work on that. I might have to take a fair bit off the bottom and see if I can just get outside of this crack on the inside, if you see what I mean. I know what I mean anyway. I think I know what I mean anyway. Anyway, see how that goes. A definite slow process. Well, it's still not happening any quicker, and it's a fair old battle at the moment. It really is. I'm only running at about 220-ish. There's a flat spot just there which is nearly gone, so I'm going to continue working on that and get rid of that. Got that nasty bit of punky area just there and there, which I might just harden that up with something. And we've got this big flat area here, which, if I take that off, don't really want to. I want to try and leave that actually. That's where the original tree surgeon put his cut, so a little bit of his work, a little bit of my work. I was trying to get a laser level there. Might be able to get him, straight. Anyway, onwards and upwards. Right, it's time for a sharp up and a cup of coffee and a rest. Right, well that's the sort of shape I've decided upon. It's sort of like a flat cauldron. That's quite deep, that, so I don't want to take too much out, otherwise I'm going to lose a lot of the thickness of the wood. I'm going to leave it like that for now. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it round mount it in the chuck very carefully. I'm going to leave the worm screw in, and I'm just going to hog out a little bit around the sides just to try and get a bit more balance to it, really, because boy oh boy, it would be nice to get it up to 500 or 600 revs rather than 200, but still. There we go. Right, we're going to try and hog out some of the middle of this now to get a bit of the weight down, and you never know, might be able to get the speed up a little bit, because turning it at around about 200 RPM is deathly slow. Right, just a little bit of an update. So far so good. It's still widely out of balance and I'm only at about 350. 400 and push. I've got about another inch to go that way even, towards the power stop. And now I need to start carving out a little bit in here. Oh, just like that. What I really need to do is get rid of the tailstock, but I'm a bit low to do that. But it's getting to a point where I don't really have any choice. Let's see what we can do. Oh. See, very gentle cut trick line. Right. Recenter it. Right, everything's getting very awkward, so I'm going to have to take this central boss out. Don't really want to, but hey, I haven't really got close enough to the tool list either. See that there? Well, all I can say to that is, whoops. Well, all's not lost yet. Right, I'll get a glue block glued on there. Right, I've got a bit of a problem with this here blank. There's a Dirty Grate crack opened up and it's probably goes all the way through and it's causing a lot of chatter. So what I'm going to do is I've cleaned it out as best I can. It does go all the way through, unfortunately. I'm going to mix up some epoxy with some wood dust into a good relatively thick paste, and I'm just going to squeeze that in there and then leave it for 24 hours to go off properly. Then hopefully I can get back to it and it won't end up as a pen blank. Right, well, the sticky stuff seems to have gone off, so the next job is to clean it all up. I want to try and finish the outside if I can before it gets any smaller. Right, I'll do a little bit of scraping. Just to clean down the bottom here and around there. I took a reasonable amount off. It's now sort of, yeah, reasonably in shape. Let's see how it goes. the rest of this is going to be down to sanding. I know there's a lot of tool marks in there, but the trouble is when I get a bit too the big problem is turning at such low revs, you know, down at the 350 mark, 350 mark, you tend to expect the tools to do the same as if it's turning in at 600 or 800 or 1000, and that's one lesson I've got to learn, I'm afraid, is the fact that the slower it is, the slower it's going to be. And I've got quite a few big pieces like this to do, and if I don't want them to all end up on the fire pile or as pen blanks, I think that's a lesson I really need to learn, and very quickly. Right, I'll try and take these school marks out. That's another thing as well, because the wood is quite wet. I know it's on a screw chuck and it's butted tight against the jaw fronts, and the tailstock is got major tight. If you get a catch similar to the ones that obviously cause this mark here, it can alter the balance of it as well. Now once the balance of the bowl or whatever it is you're turning is altered, that means you've got to go back and return everything else to the same, or you've got to try and balance it up, which is next to nigh on impossible. Anyway, let's try and clean a couple of these marks out. Right, that's it, no more tools. No more tools. Go on, do a bit of sanding. Right, I'm going to go on to sanding. I'm going to start with 60 grit and work through, because I've got a lot of tool marks on there, which I have no intention of trying to get rid of with tools. I won't show you all of the sanding obviously, but I'll show you the start and show you the finish, and I'll try not to talk when I've got my mask on. There we go, from there, see what happens. Right, it's sanded down to 320. I will go to 400 later on, but I want to get a couple of coats of the sanding sealer on first. The quick-sighted amongst you might see that I've still got some little holes here. These were from the big faceplate I put on. What I'm going to do is use some of them, to probably 3, and make some legs. So the thing sits off the surface, and obviously I shall have to fill the rest. Probably use a pellet to fill them with rather than just filler. I would. It was such a big chunk of wood, I'd rather have it secure while it was being thrown around and take any chances, so I'll put up with the little holes in the base of this for not having a dirty great big hole in the face. Oh, hi folks. Well, I know we all get these little projects occasionally that don't quite go according to plan, and this one is one of those, unfortunately. It was a bit of a struggle right from the start. It was a big lump of wood, 15 or so inches in diameter, very badly balanced because of its shape, and also after turning later found out there was a big crack in it, which we managed to fix. Actually got it to a point where we got some finish on the outside, and it was starting to look very nice. But unfortunately had a bit of a thing going on which I had no control over, which makes a change. Normally any cock-ups are purely and utterly down to me doing something stupid, but I had a bit of a problem with the lathe. The potentiometer, which controls the speed, suddenly gave out basically, and unfortunately it didn't stop. So the piece went from 300 RPM to 2100 RPM in a matter of milliseconds, and it was just a bit too much, so the whole piece basically shook itself apart. But that's the way it goes sometimes. I'll show you what's left of it, and well, that's it really. No more video. Sorry about that guys, but hey, we all know it doesn't work out as we want it all of the time. But thanks very much for watching, and a big thanks to all of the subscribers I've got. A few new ones have come on board, which is great, and of course all the original and old lot from way back when. Thank you very much, and thank you for watching. See you again. Bye bye. Right, here we have it. As you see, it's got finish on it, and this huge great crack all the way through. Actually didn't come out too badly with the wood powder and epoxy resin. But, as you can see here, the extra little tenon I put on, that's split, and unfortunately so did the rest of it. So we've ended up with a magnificent two-piece unfinished bowl, and there's some other bits lying around in the workshop somewhere. I'm sure I'll come across them at some point, but anyway, there we go. Better luck next time.